This video presentation has been classified by the ABC as M. It contains material that is not recommended for persons under 15 years.
As well as watching this vodcast, you can watch Good Game on ABC2 every Tuesday night at 8:30 and ABC TV late on Friday nights after JTV. Junglist, welcome to the party, and welcome to Good Game, the show for gamers, by gamers. I'm Barjo.
I'm Junglist.
This week we look at Call of Duty 4. They've shifted things to modern day, but does it work?
And with the federal election campaign heating up, Lux takes a look at games that also carry a political message.
And in our next evolution of a genre, we take a look at beat-em-ups from the arcade to next gen. Ferrybred Junglist. And party games. They're a great excuse for a night in with the mates. We take a look at the best and the rest. But first, can you guess the name of the game for this week?
That's a bunker.
I'll BRB Junglist, just popping off to read the news.
Good game.
Thousands of gamers in North America who open their Orange Box using product keys purchased from an online supplier in Thailand have had their copies of the game deactivated. Gamers save themselves some dollars by buying the game internationally, and were able to play it for a week or so before Valve, the game's developer, closed the account, saying that the product keys are strictly territory specific. BioWare, developer of the upcoming Mass Effect, have announced their next project will be a joint production with LucasArts. Details of the game have yet to be released, but speculation has already begun the project is a Star Wars-themed MMO. BioWare was recently acquired by EA Games, along with Pandemic Studios based in Brisbane. Vint Cerf, who was instrumental in developing the way the internet works, has warned that the number of IP addresses available will run out in 2010. Every device that connects to the internet needs its own IP address. The current system, IPv4, allows for 4 billion addresses, and these are rapidly being used up. A new system, IPv6, is ready and will create 340 trillion separate addresses. But, warns Mr. Cerf, internet service providers have been reluctant to introduce the new protocol, as running both systems will increase their costs.
Movie star David Niven was a lieutenant colonel in the British Army.
How's the party, Jung?
One of the most successful party games has been the PS2's Buzz, bringing the game show formula into your home. There's been a few of them, but the latest one is Buzz the Hollywood Quiz.
Movies. I am going to own you at this.
Question, yeah.
I got it right.
No, you didn't.
Somehow. I was wrong.
I really want to know what you picked there, because I'm going to go for Charlie Sheen. Hey!
It's my original choice.
Wish they all could be junglers.
Stop singing that song. Oh no! Oh yes.
You owe me 250 points. You're in debt.
Final countdown.
I kind of like the way they've done this one, Badge. I mean, there's a lot of questions from a wide variety of movies, and there's not too much buzz in there. They've kind of cut out the fat a bit.
Gregory, questions on animals, if you please.
Yeah, I still find the lines a bit cheesy, though. He sets the atmosphere, but it's a shame you can't buzz through him.
The rounds follow the proven formula of requiring knowledge, and some of them requiring you to be quick on the buzzer. You do need all the peripherals to play, although it can take up to 8 of them.
It's a great game to play with your mates. I'm giving it 8 out of 10 Jason Donovan voiceover chickens.
Yeah, it's pretty good fun, but it's not a classic. I'm giving it 7.5 popcorn chickens.
Coming up, Duty Calls.
Good game.
You know, Badge, I've been playing Counter-Strike since Beta 4. That's 8 years ago. And this old trigger finger is looking for something new. Sure, shooters have come and gone, but none able to challenge the mighty Counter-Strike for its throne. But there is hope, gamers. For its 4th run, it's time to answer the call of duty.
Captain Price is back after dying in Call of Duty 1, fighting in Call of Duty 2, and as Call of Duty 4 is all about modern combat, 60 years later he's still pistol whipping bad guys with his fearsome Fu Manchu.
On your feet, soldier! We are leaving! Get to the catwalks! Move!
Switching between an SAS squad and US Marine Corps, you'll tackle insanely cool missions from rescuing spies to air support and the most intense sniper mission we've ever encountered. The story is good enough with surprises along the way and serves its main purpose of stringing together a bunch of really cool what-if scenarios for Special Forces squads.
There are a lot of elements at work here to put you in the moment. Smart AI on both sides, a well-executed difficulty curve, and how it walks the line between a healthy but enjoyable amount of realism.
They've even gone as far as researching what the human eye picks up in situations like looking through iron sights and night vision goggles in pitch black, and they adjusted the graphics accordingly. Good on you, Infinity Ward, for paying attention to detail.
Not only are the controls the most intuitive I think we've seen in a console FPS, but the auto-aim outshines Halo 3 and Bioshock. It only happens briefly when you zoom in, so it doesn't mess you up, and it's been taken out of the multiplayer as well, which is great competitively speaking. Speaking of competitive play, Jung, let's get back to what you were saying earlier.
Are you ready for a big call?
Hit me.
Call of Duty 4 has the tactical depth to beat Counter-Strike within a couple of years.
That's a big call.
I warned you. There are several game modes suitable for competition, but the favorite will likely be Capture the Flag. With 2 teams and 3 flags, one team is always forced to be on the attack. And with the addition of recoil, upgrading from Call of Duty 2 is a no-brainer. Although e-athletes will prefer the PC version for competition, and some punters may take a hefty hardware hit.
You know, forcing people to upgrade might be the biggest obstacle here, Jug, considering Counter-Strike is playable on mid-range PCs now.
Yeah, but give it a few years. In fact, I think the biggest threat to Call of Duty 4 right now is Call of Duty 5. If they bring out the next one within a couple of years, it'll split the community and only hurt themselves in terms of longevity.
Ah, longevity. Brings me to my one gripe in this game, and that's that the single-player mission is only about 7.5 hours. I mean, that's like a Half-Life episode.
True, but I found the action to be so intense and episodic in nature that I didn't really care. It's almost overwhelming. Take this example. I got stuck on a checkpoint, died something like 10 times, and all of a sudden an airstrike just took out the checkpoint and let me proceed. That says to me they care more about the player experience than extending the playtime by continually punishing the player.
Breaching! Go! Clear!
There's also a feature from Call of Duty 3 where a symbol would fade depending on how far a grenade was from you. This wasn't carried over, and I kind of missed it.
Realism, son.
Ah, what's realism?
Show me a real-life soldier that looks at a live grenade and says, "Oh, that'll only take off 90% of my health."
Now, due to scheduling reasons, we have to play these games a little bit in advance. And, you know, Jung, it's been 3 weeks and I'm still talking about the ending to this game with my mates.
I see what you did there.
What?
You made it sound like you had mates.
Well, I don't anymore because I haven't played it yet. This game just pours awesome sauce all over single player and multiplayer. I'm giving it 9.5 out of 10.
This is a seriously good shooter. Campaign mode will be one of your more memorable experiences as a gamer, and multiplayer has massive potential for both public and competitive play. I'm whacking a 10 on this bad boy. Bam!
Call of Duty 4 comes out this week for PS3, 360 and PC. We played the 360 version and recommend you play it on hard. Also, make sure you stay for the credits when you finish the game. Back to the party, Jung.
Carnival is a party game exclusive to the Wii, which takes you to a traditional carnival, and you see all the games you'd expect to see there.
Dunk, hoopla, target practice, test of strength. All in all, 25 mini-games designed specifically to use the Wiimote's capabilities.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Test Your Strength.
Try hitting the launch pad softer.
The trouble is, Badge, all the games are really, really boring. It's turn-based gaming at its worst. It looks dull, and even worse, it plays dull.
Yeah, I agree, Jung. It has none of the charm of games like Rayman, Raving Rabbids or WarioWare. Some games are so easy they're borderline pathetic, others rely purely on luck, and some just appear to be completely broken.
If you persevere with it, you can win some pretty horrid virtual stuffed toys and some side games, but to be honest, it's not worth it.
Yep, a party killer from me, Jung. I'm giving it 4 squawks of the rubber chook.
I think the fairy bread's gone to your head, Badger. Just 3 chickens from me.
You seem like a swell cat, but this might not be your game, if you know what I mean.
Good game.
We're in the middle of a federal election campaign. Politicians on both sides of the fence are in hard sell mode, using every means possible to get their message across. Except games, well, at least this time round, as video games are increasingly being used to get people interested in the choices they make in a world filled with political agendas.
They're designed to present an ideology in general, to present an argument or a position. They're games with a message. They're about trying to engage people to think about these ideas and using gameplay to do that.
Justin Halliday produced the controversial Escape from Woomera, which looks at the life of asylum seekers in detention centres. Justin, tell us why you made the game.
We made Escape from Woomera to raise awareness of life for asylum seekers in the Woomera Detention Centre. And the idea is that, you can't understand someone until you've walked a mile in their shoes.
And it's a first-person game?
Yeah, it's a first-person adventure game, which is something new for the genre. And what you do in the game is you play a refugee, and in the game you go through their daily lives, the sorts of things that they would do each day. And what we did for our research for the game is we spoke to refugees about how their lives there were. And we also spoke to guards who provided us with floor plans of the centre, which we used to recreate the centre for the game. The politicians, because of the message it was saying, they were not happy with that, and they attacked us. They attacked the arts body as well, and they accused us of encouraging illegal acts. We wanted people to become aware of the political reasons why people are kept in asylum.
Games created officially by political parties tend to try and use the gameplay to sort of teach people particular things. Games like Jay Oda's anti-Bush game was created by an enthusiast to sort of help people who would never ever probably read or watch news about tax policy to learn about the issues he saw with the Bush's tax policy and why you shouldn't re-elect the Bush government.
Tell us about the game September 12.
Well, obviously from the name you can see that it's a response to September 11, and it looks at the fact that violence is probably not the solution to such a complex issue. And when you play the game, you discover that through bombing this little town, all you do is create more problems rather than any sense of resolution.
Super Chick Sisters is from the animal rights organisation PETA and was created as part of their ongoing campaign against KFC's breeding and slaughtering practices. It's a detailed, high production value game that places you in a familiar situation. You pass certain levels platformer style and text bubbles pop up telling you about the way the company treats its product. It's a very cutesy game, and because of this, it fails to get across the rather gruesome conditions that PETA claims KFC operate under. It also feels like I'm strangely watching an ad for KFC too, because of its graphics, which is somewhat unsettling. Obviously, it's a fairly one-sided message, but these games are not going to be impartial when it comes to sending a message home. Earlier this year, the game Super Columbine Massacre RPG was pulled from competition at the Slam Dance Guerrilla Games Maker Festival based on moral grounds. 7 other games pulled out in protest. The controversy seems to stem from whether we should be playing video games about these sorts of events as opposed to watching a film or reading a newspaper article about them. The military have certainly seen opportunity in this area and are using video games as a tool to engage their next recruits. In 2005, the Pentagon was the biggest investor of games development in the USA. Their most high-profile game was the FPS America's Army. Interestingly, the game mechanics are used in a similar way, but for the Palestinian game Under Siege. Both games follow similar storylines, but are obviously based in very different religious and social spheres.
You can put a lot of ideology in a game, and people can learn, things from a game. So I think there will be, as games grow in popularity and people understand them better, there will be an increasing use of games.
Good game.
Get the ants in your pants. Well, Jung, this is a game which is all about fun, and more fun.
Viva Pinata Party Animals takes the very successful pinatas out of the TV and garden and into minigame format. This one was developed by Aussie's Chrome in Brisbane.
I did that on purpose.
You can choose from a range of colourful pinatas as you take on your mates in various challenges, 50 in all, interspersed with more than a race or two.
Yeah, and the races were a lot like Mario Kart, I found as well, although not as well executed. Still fun coming in first, though.
I agree, it is fun, especially the mini-games against real-life opponents, but I can't help but feel this one missed the mark, Jung. It's aimed definitely for the younger gamer, but I think younger gamers will get frustrated that every single mini-game you have to read and learn the new controls. It frustrated me.
Yeah, I agree, Badge, and I found almost all of the games simplistic and boring, and while simple is good for the young ones, boring isn't.
Yeah, it's a shame because it looks great and it sounds great, but the gameplay just really brings it down. I'm giving it 5 out of 10.
I agree, I'm giving it 5 out of 10 as well.
Now, back where they belong, Quarter Circle A! What?
Finish him. Pac-Man wins. Fatality.
Why? Just why?
Boy, I've been eating pills for 27 years. Sometimes a yellow circle needs some variety.
Whatever. Hey!
I think they played one game too many during their break, Jung. More from Quarter Circle A next week. But now, time to warm up your vocal cords.
Man, I don't wanna...
Ah, come on, you know you like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Badjo on the microphone.
Hi there, everybody. How you going this evening? It's me.
Take it away, Badge.
We know in the Father. And that's me. Turning forever hand in hand.
Make it on the stride. Taking and falling down.
You won't get uncounted because you're free. Free. You got a new horizon, it's experimental style.
What? Kelly,
that's you.
Never smart. Got a kiss cause I got no beep. I know.
We're in the land of land, is everybody land. That's you. Wrap it up.
Don't shock, get it.
SingStar has made its way to the PS3 and they've followed the mantra, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Everything loads quicker and looks brighter, but it's pretty much the same old SingStar you've come to either love or hate.
There's a wide variety of tracks from Coldplay to Radiohead, from Britney to Scissor Sisters.
The new thing will be the Sing Store, which allows you to download just the songs you want to sing. There's no confirmed date for this yet, but Sony have announced it will be up and running before the end of the year.
If you're a fan of SingStar, you're going to want to take it to next gen. I really liked a lot of the tracks. I'm giving it 7 out of 10 warbling chooks.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more songs on the disc. I mean, this is Blu-ray, right? Which means more data, but we're still stuck with 30 songs. I mean, obviously they want you to download some songs, but this feature isn't available yet, and there's few details on what the feature will actually involve, so I'm gonna have to give it a 6. Hey, there's no secret you're a big Ninja Turtles fan. You played that in the arcade, didn't you?
Oh my god, I lined up for so long waiting for that game to come out.
It's one of the classic beat-em-ups, and since I know so much more about beat-em-ups than you, why don't you just sit there and let me tell you about it?
You know nothing.
Some game genres require deep thinking, like strategy or puzzle games. Others require precision, like FPS. And then you've got the side-scrolling beat-em-up. These games aren't that complicated. It's all about beating people up. And it's none of this pansy one-on-one fighting games thing. It's always you, or a small group of yous, versus lots and lots of them. Early beat-em-up games were almost always arcade games, and took inspiration from the popularity of martial arts movies. The very first was Kung Fu Master by Irem in 1984. Turns out your girlfriend was kidnapped by the mysterious Mr. X, and it's up to you to save her by conquering 5 levels of his castle, each with its own boss, a concept ripped straight out of the Bruce Lee movie Game of Death. On the way you had to fight various henchmen, including balls of confetti, and the only things you could do was punch, kick, move left, right, duck, and jump. The next big thing came in 1986 with a game called Nekketsu Koha Kunio-kun, also known as Renegade, which was the first game in a long-running series by Technos. For the first time, you could move horizontally and laterally. It also had enemies that needed more than one hit to die, and special moves besides the typical punching and kicking. The game itself wasn't great, with bad graphics and small contained levels, but the other features all became standards in beat-em-up games to come. In 1987, Technos took the great ideas in Kunio-kun, tried to iron out the kinks, and then slapped on a 2-player cooperative mode. And this new option saw the popularity of arcade beat-em-ups explode. What was the game? Double Dragon. You follow Billy and Jimmy Lee in their quest to rescue Billy's girlfriend from the gangs that kidnapped her. Besides the 2-player co-op mode, the game also allowed you to disarm baddies and pick up their weapons. And these things also became standards in following games. 2 years later, Capcom released Final Fight. This game was significant because you could choose from 3 characters, all with different special moves and characteristics. The all-round Cody, whose girlfriend has been kidnapped. Sound familiar? The fast-moving Guy. Or the powerhouse Hagar, who happens to be the father of the kidnapped lass, as well as the mayor of the city. That's right, a city mayor who wears bracers and decides the best way to clean up his city is to take a more hands-on approach. The game also contained cool bonus levels, so if you weren't content with beating up bad guys, you could also take out your rage on a car. At the arcades, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Turtles in Time was a huge hit in 1991. Can you guess the story again? If you said a girlfriend of some sort was kidnapped, you'd be wrong. Instead, Shredder kidnaps the Statue of Liberty.
Hey, Krang, bring that statue back!
The game had 4-player mode and is considered one of the best beat-em-ups ever. In terms of home consoles, the NES had heaps of arcade beat-em-up ports, and with the imminent release of the Super Nintendo, Sega needed its own beat-em-up game. So, in 1991, they made Streets of Rage for the Sega Mega Drive. It was pretty similar to Final Fight, with 3 different characters, but it also added things like the ability to call for backup, which would waste all the enemies on screen, and the animation gave your hands a break too. 2 more Streets of Rage games were released, with Streets of Rage 2 considered an all-time classic. Nowadays, side-scrolling beat-em-ups have generally evolved into 3D action adventures like Dynasty Warriors and God of War. Franchise games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Spider-Man also stay true to the beat-em-up formula. So although games and gamers are more sophisticated now, it seems there's still an urge in people to just have a bit of mindless fun. And for that, we can say thank you to the good old beat-em-up.
Good game.
Now, Badjo, for one of the ultimate party games, Guitar Hero is back for a 3rd tour of Australian shelves. It's got new tracks, a new battle mode, and boss fights with real guitarists.
Well, it's really the 4th, John.
No, we don't talk about that other.
Oh, come on, Guitar Hero 80s wasn't that bad. covers and masters are done much better here. In the original, some songs like Rage Against the Machine just weren't really done right. Here it's been fixed.
One of the main criticisms of number 2 was its difficulty curve.
Yeah, it was more of a jump from medium to hard than an actual curve.
And that's still present here. In fact, the whole game is more challenging across the board.
But it's totally forgivable because it's got such a stellar track list. I'm glad they've had some real guitar heroes in here too, Jug, like Santana and Stevie Ray Vaughan.
The 360 version of Guitar Hero actually had more issues with HD lag than the PS2 version. This is a problem where the audio doesn't match up with the visuals exactly, which makes it pretty hard if you're trying to play on hard or expert difficulty settings, and kinda sucks since if you own a 360, you're more likely to own a HD TV anyway. You can try to calibrate the lag, fixing the issue, and they did this better this time around, but it's still not perfect. So, if you own a HD TV, you can either get used to hitting every note early, or enjoy the irony of lugging your old TV out from the garage to better enjoy next-gen gaming.
And it must be a pretty hard problem to fix, John, because it's been prominent in all the Guitar Hero games.
There's more hammering in number 3, with long stretches of it flowing over the entire fretboard. That's good, because hammering is fun. They've also paid a lot of attention to the details in the background, like Slash actually standing how he does in real life. And the singer's lips match up with the words this time around. All up, I'm going to be strumming this one for a long time. I'm giving it 9.5 rubber chickens out of 10.
The addition of battle mode wasn't quite what I expected here. It's more of a fun, quirky thing, but it's still welcome. If you want to play competitively, Pro Face-Off is still the way to go. You know, Jung, like you said, it's a classic. I'm giving it 9 out of 10.
Time to wrap this party up, Badge, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, thank you for coming, Junglers. I'm glad you had fun.
Did you guess the retro game for this week, gamers?
It was Microsoft Golf. Made in 1996, it was well known for its multiplayer capability, where you could play up to 8 people at once.
That's a bunker.
Next week in an International Raffle Cup, the owner himself, Jeremy from Pure Ownage, will be joining us in the Den of Gaming to take part in an Iron Gamer Raffle Cup.
And we check out the much-anticipated demonic RPG, Hellgate London, brought to us by the makers of Diablo.
And we'll be taking a leisurely drive in the latest PSP title, Pursuit Force Extreme Justice.
Don't forget to jump on our forums and tell us what's pushing your buttons in the world of gaming. You can also download the show from there as well. Until next week, gamers, Bajo out.
Junglist out.